Hi y'all. In this video I'm going to show you guys basically paper beads made from painted paper. Okay, I know it sounds simple, and some people just tuned in and said, oh, that's so simple, but there's people who don't know how to do it, and that's okay. So I'm going to flip you around and we're going to talk about it. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about painted paper. All right, I have this scrap paper. Well, it's not scrap paper. I got it at Tuesday Mornings a long time ago. It's basically, it was a pack about 1.5 inches thick, and the paper basically measures 8 by 8. So I've been trying to use it up in all kinds of projects. Well, last night I painted it. I tried this paint from the Dollar Tree. I have to say I was impressed with it. It's really thick. I thought it was going to be kind of runny, but it isn't. So basically, it doesn't matter that they curled up. I'm going to turn these 5 sheets of paper into different color beads. Okay, we'll see how each one of them rolls up differently. The reason why I painted this orange on both sides was because no matter where the skinny end is, I'll always end up with the orange end, and that way I have a consistent strand of beads. I would paint them, but that takes time. Basically, I painted the red down the center and then watered it way down on the edges to get a lighter effect. And again, I did 2 of them that way. I don't have a lot of red beads, so. And then I did just a green one with some yellow. I know they're not the prettiest of colors, but when I was at Dollar Tree looking for something, I thought, oh, I'm going to try the Dollar Tree paint and see what I think about it. I've never tried the Dollar Tree acrylic paint before. I mean, they kind of come in 2 different sizes, I guess. I don't know if this is old and then this is new because it's smaller. I've never tried it. I've never thought about trying it. I don't do a lot of painting. I occasionally will use watercolor and paint paper like this. I do not know if, because I dip in PC Petrifier, I do not know if this will run in the glaze. I don't know yet. But I'm going to get my cutter out and we're going to cut some papers up. Okay. And I'm going to get my toothpicks. That way when we start to roll, I can put them on. I don't glaze on the toothpicks. I put them on toothpicks to let the Elmer's glue dry. That's the reason why I put them on toothpicks. And sometimes they'll sit there for a day or something until, I let the beads go 24 hours before I glaze them. So like I said, it does not matter that the paper kind of curled up. And yes, this is my lovely, wonderful, tried and true paper cutter. Now, I don't measure. I only go by these lines here, okay? I only go by those lines. So I eyeball. I know some people measure, and there are templates out there. If you want to get the templates, if you want to download templates from somebody and then paint the back side so you still have lines to cut, do that. I just don't. I've never done it. I've never used a template. I've never really, only time I measure or draw lines on anything to make beads is when I do it on food packaging. Other than that, I just eyeball. I always cut 2 strips of paper the same size from the very beginning, because that way I always have 2 beads for earrings. So this is going to be, it looks like 3/4 of an inch. Let's see if I can figure that one out. We'll measure it once I cut it. Okay, so we're going to cut it. So the fat end happens to measure 3/4 of an inch, okay? And then the skinny end is 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1/8 of an inch wide. Okay, for those of you who need measurements. Okay, because I realize there's people out there who need measurements. I realize that. All right, so I've cut one. Now I'm gonna cut two. So now I have 2 sheets of paper, basically the same. And what I will do is I will get my bead rolling tool. Bead rolling tool is whatever you use, whether it is a toothpick you roll on, whether it is a knitting needle you roll on. Whether somebody the other day, I watched the video, and when her ballpoint pens run out of ink, she rolls on those. So, or she puts a slit down the side or something so she can put the paper in it. You can buy bead rolling tools on Etsy's. They have a little groove to slide the end of the paper in before you roll them. Now, I don't put paint on the back side of my paper. That's like 99% of the time I don't. If I put paint, glue, I don't put glue on the back side of my paper. Now, I don't put glue on the back side of my paper. Some people glue the whole back side with a glue stick, one of those ones that roll out like deodorant or lipstick. I don't. I usually only glue the last section, which I will show you that. So I'm gonna slide my paper in my bead roller, roll my paper. That way I know what size bead I'm getting. See, now you see there's yellow on the ends and green in the center. Well, that's a pretty bead. I'm happy with the size of this bead at the moment. If you roll it on something fatter than a toothpick, you'll have a bigger bead. Your hole will be bigger. I do not know how big this hole is. I don't know, honestly. Where I bought them online, I can't read what it says. But I know a toothpick, it fits on a toothpick, so it's, the hole's as big as a toothpick. But I'm happy with the size of that bead. I actually think that bead's really pretty. So I'm happy with that. So now I know I'm happy. I'm going to go ahead and cut this whole piece up into that size bead. So basically, that's all I'm doing. I will be anxious to know if the sometimes I forget which end was a skinny one last. I will be anxious to see if the color bleeds when I dip them. I dip them in PC Petrifier to harden them, and then I dip them in PC Petrifier mixed with Varathane, and then my last dipping right now has been a good coat of Varathane. I dip a minimum of 3 times. Sometimes I dip 4 to 5 depending on the bead, the type of paper I'm using. If I really want a little smoother bead. I think I dip a little extra when I do like construction paper, because construction paper tends to be I like rolling construction paper, but I find to me it's a little like rolling a fine grit sandpaper. Maybe I find it like if I roll a lot of them, I find that my fingertips feel funny afterwards. So basically you just cut the beads up, strips up. That's all you kind of do. I eyeball. Like I said, You can draw lines on the back side. I'm not demonstrating that because honestly, I don't do it that way. And I don't want to make a mistake and look silly. I'm not going to say stupid, I'm going to say silly. It's got a slight bend in it, so. And then when I'm left with a piece that, okay, say, I know this is not going to be the same size, I just cut it corner to corner. So then I have two pieces the same size, basically, roughly. Roughly I have two, and I can use them for earrings. See? I can use these two smaller beads in the pair of earrings or something. To see, I got slightly smaller ones and they'll make earrings. So I will go ahead and, let me set this aside for a minute. And go ahead and roll these smaller ones to show you the difference. Again, just put it in there. And for newbies, new people at rolling, hold the paper kind of taut. Not too, don't hold on to it too much. Do allow the paper to smoothly roll around. You want a little bit of tautness, tight, you know, a little bit of a tension on the roll, because if you don't, it'll be loose. It'll be loose, but right here, so just a little bit of glue on that last little over ½ inch or whatever. Even if it was just a ½ inch, it would be fine. You don't see as much because the beads are not as wide. You don't see as much of that yellow on the ends of the beads. But these would still look nice as earrings, because if I placed this little bead on top of this other bead and put a nice C bead or a crystal in between and had a little bit of a dangle, that would be an attractive pair of earrings. So, like I said, always do two of something. So we know what those are going to kind of look like. So we'll set this aside, and then we'll do the orange and green one. So for purposes of time, I'm going to stick with that size bead at the moment, because I like that size bead. And right now I'm working on bead boxes that I'm going to sell, and this will go nicely. This size will go nicely in at least one of my boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and do I'm going to go ahead and do a couple beads in this so we can see what these look like. I'm not sure about the color combination. It makes me think of Halloween and Thanksgiving. A pumpkin. So but I have an orange thing right now going on. I don't know why, but all of a sudden over the last year I have been crazy about that color. I'm not going to say it's my favorite color because I don't want to start wearing orange stuff. I still think purple is my favorite color, but I've had this, like, I don't know, this thing for orange lately. Not enough to buy an orange cell phone case yet, though. Because I was with my daughter and she's like, Mom, an orange cell phone case. I'm like, very nice, daughter. Okay, so what I use to put my beads on is I save a styrofoam from things we get or something, or once in a great while I've been known to, if they're unpacking something like at Walmart, they've got the really nice sheets of styrofoam, I'll ask if I can have them if they're throwing them away. So I use styrofoam. I don't keep too much of it, but I have a couple sheets. Again, we're going to roll it. This would be quite a bit of... Also makes me think of a hunter. Hunter's vest. These are nice. These are nice. I like these. You get these glue containers I'm using here. You get these at Dollar Tree. Or at least you get them at Dollar Tree. I am wondering though. I really am wondering. Because this paint feels chalky to me. Texture wise, it feels chalky. I do wonder if when it gets wet, when I put it in PC Petrifier, if it's going to look, right now you can mix these beads together. you almost could. That would make almost a pretty bright necklace if you, if you put this in between, if you put this one in between a couple of those, it'd be a pretty necklace or a bracelet. But it feels almost, like I said, I don't paint a lot, but it feels almost, it's velvety kind of feeling. The paint actually feels velvety-ish. So I really don't know if it's going to, and I'm sorry, I forgot to put down the white poster board so you didn't get that glare. I don't know if it's going to have a, if it's going to bleed, run. But no, you just kind of roll it. I think these beads are pretty. I think all beads are pretty. Some I like more than others. I wouldn't want to do a whole lot of these. I wouldn't necessarily make myself anything out of these beads. I think they're pretty. But they're not something I would wear. See, that's why orange has not become my new best friend and my new favorite color. So we'll set this aside, and I'll cut that up later. Here, see, okay, this is why I say, all right, this, what is the difference? Okay, because it's all the same, it's all the same paint, guys. It's all the same paint. All right, so this one and the green one left a slightly matted finish, okay? The red and the yellow left a shiny finish. So nowhere on this paint does the paint say that this is a gloss and that this is a matte. Nowhere on this does it say that this is matte and that this is gloss. So that's the thing you got to be careful of, I guess, at Dollar Tree. Because I just now noticed that. See, this is the red, and it's got a shiny, glossy texture. And the green did not. And when that yellow got mixed in a little bit, it's not, it's more matted. More, yeah, so you gotta test the paints. You gotta test the paints at Dollar Tree. Maybe when this whole mess is over with and we're back out and the stores stock up, maybe I'll get a bunch of paints from the Dollar Tree and do a paint what I think about it thing. So again, I already know I'm gonna make the same size bead. So it's gonna be 3/4 of an inch wide at the fat end and 1/8 of an inch wide at the top end. Like I said, I just eyeball. This is a Fiskars cutting thing. I've had it for forever, as you can tell. I've had it forever. It basically has a blade here, and I've never. I think in all the time I've had it, this blade right here, I've only changed it once. These blades stay sharp like forever. This I have to change though. This little white thing here. But what I do is I actually flip them around and use them repeatedly. And then I hang on, when I put a new one in, I hang on to the old one for when I do like cut really thick paper, like say I cut through a cardboard kind of thing. And I'm going to be pressing hard on this, because this blade is what eventually wears this out. So I'll hang on to these a little bit and use them that way. Okay, so now let's do the red and orange and see what that bead looks like. Like I was saying, you get these at the Dollar Tree. What I like about these is you can unscrew them. You can unscrew them. You can unscrew them and refill them with glue. So this does not necessarily have Elmer's glue inside of it. And then this is just one of those, I'm sorry it looks nasty and dirty, but this is just one of those, you put water in it for paintbrushes, and it just allows me to have the glue drip down in there. And that way I have glue everywhere. And you don't really waste a lot of glue. So again, just roll them. I'm wondering if this bead will be a little thicker because, nope. But that's a pretty bead too. This will probably go in one of my bead boxes I'm selling. Now, because it's got a glossier finish, I might have to hold it for a minute. That's a pretty bead. Now, if I had... That's a pretty bead. That is a pretty bead. Do another one. If for some reason it's bending right there. Sometimes when you roll a bead, it's like the paper will fold instead of roll, and then when you get done, you have like a lump. I usually don't fret about that way too much because I like the natural whatever happens with saying just gluing the tip. I like the natural thing that happens with the bead. I don't try, I mean, I think my beads come out pretty close to like perfect in a way. It's all in the rolling. If you're new at this, you'll find as you do it more and more and more, your rolling gets better and better. But that's a pretty bead too. Right now, my least favorite is the orange and green ones so far. Right now, that's my least favorite. I really like these. Oh, I really like those. So now let's do the last color. Let's do the red one. Now, okay, this feels shiny, and this, since it was watered down, because what I did was, after I painted this, I dipped my brush in water, and I watered down so it would be more like watercolor. So, this feels a little more matte than this. This doesn't feel glossy like this. So that's interesting. Again, we're going to do the same size beads because that's what I just for sake of whatever. This is more to show you guys what the way you paint the paper differently is going to look like. If I had done, like, for instance, if I had done this one where half the paper was yellow and half the paper was red, when I finished rolling, I'd have yellow at one end. It would be opposite. Like this stripe on this would have been like, there would have been an orange stripe down the middle and green on the ends. So this would be a better example to try to tell you. If this had been yellow on one side and green on the other, this whole ends would be green and the center would be this yellow and orange and red, and it would be opposite when you roll the opposite bead, if that makes sense. I don't want to confuse y'all. So let's roll these up. See, it's light colored on this end, darker in the middle. Put glue on the tip. Roll it down. Now some people feel that they got to cover the whole bead in Elmer's glue. I don't necessarily do that. Oh, that's a pretty bead. That's a pretty bead. I think I'm gonna like that one. We'll do another one. And what's going to be nice about these beads is because they were hand painted paper, and there's a little variation. There's a little variation in this paint right here. They're not gonna be like perfectly the same color when you make jewelry out of them or whatever you do with them. Well, that's gonna be pretty. I think I like this. This and the first bead is my two favorites right now. I just love how paper beads come together. When you first start making paper beads, you're gonna think some paper that's really, really gorgeous. And another reason why I don't glue the whole back side is I can manipulate this bead a little bit if I don't glue the whole back side. I can like push it a little bit and shape it. As I started to say, you're going to find that you're going to do beads and you're going to see some paper and you're going to think, oh, that paper will make gorgeous beads. And then you're going to cut it up and then you're going to roll it and you're going to realize, well, these didn't come out like I thought they were going to come out, because it doesn't happen that way. A year or so ago, my mom wanted me to make her some beads out of some paper, and I said, oh, they're not going to be the prettiest beads. And she's like, yes, they will, because they're blue. I'm like, no, Mama, they won't be the prettiest beads. And so I did it. I rolled the beads for her. I didn't want to roll them because I didn't think they would be pretty beads. I mean, yes, all beads are pretty, but they weren't what we were looking for. And I really didn't want to roll those beads right then and there. But I rolled them for her, got them all done, finished them up, glazed them and everything. I could have showed it to her before I glazed them, that they weren't the prettiest beads, but she was determined to have that paper rolled into beads, and she was kind of irritating me at the time about it. So I was like, fine, I'm going to glaze them and everything and show her. Because she probably would have said to me, when you glaze them, they'll be prettier. So I did the whole thing, glazed them, made them, and lo and behold, when I handed her the beads, because she was going to make a necklace, she said, they're not that pretty, are they? I go, nope, I told you they weren't going to be. She goes, okay, I'll listen to you next time. I'm not saying I'm right all the time. I'm just saying I didn't think that was going to be a pretty bead. I didn't think these were going to be the prettiest beads, these orange and green ones, but I wanted to try it. But they'll be great for Halloween. Even for, now if you had little pumpkin charms or little leaf charms, they would be nice. They would be great if you get little pumpkin charms. Make a bracelet with those. Make a bracelet with these, with little silver or gold pumpkin charms, and they would be cute as all get out. If you had if you put these on a cord and made a bracelet with a loop at the end and put a pumpkin button on the end, that would be a really pretty bracelet. I mean, you can get orange crystals or orange sea beads or even clear sea beads, green sea beads. Here's that other little one. Like I said, I got the little one so I can do, I think I'll do dangly earrings out of these. Unless I put these, I still think I'll save 4 beads for myself and make the dangly earrings out of these, because I think these are pretty. And then I think I'm going to put the rest of them in bead boxes. But all I can say is just enjoy this. Don't, if you start making paper beads, don't stress out about how your beads are coming out. Because, okay, so you might be on a bead group, and there are several of them. I have one, it's called Paper Bead Crazy. I've got, there's 700 and, I think there's over 750 members in the group. And they share ideas all the time. And there's other ones out there like Paper Bead Addiction. There's multiple groups. Just go into Facebook and put paper bead groups. There's several paper bead groups out there. I don't know if it's Paper Bead Antics, but there's several groups. And then I think there's just paper beads. I think that's a group too. I'm a member of a couple. I have not been going on them a lot lately, but people will share ideas. And if somebody makes a bead, because there are all different styles of beads out there, all different styles. If they make it, they'll share. 99% of the time, whoever posts a picture of what they made, they're more than happy to share with you the information about them. But the reason why I say when you go to cut a piece of paper, check them and, you know, cut 2 pieces and see what size they are, because once you get comfortable cutting paper, you'll be able to cut them in all different sizes. Like this is a box I'll be selling online at in my shop. I have a website. I can't get it out. Couldn't get it out. So these are all different sizes. I mean, you can make them all different sizes. See how little those are? I mean, my littlest ones I've ever made are these right here. It's hard to see them. Those are teeny tiny. You know, this is my skinniest, smallest one I've ever made. They're really little. So you'll get to the point where you'll get more comfortable making beads. These are little. So it's just a matter of this was one of the first small ones I've made. These were actually made out of a free little book you get. I did the whole book up. Oh, I've been working with those for years. So, but yeah, you'll get used to making your different size beads, and then you'll get into making different styles. And I kid you not, like I said, there's lots of styles out there. You'll get into making all kinds of styles. You know, everything from big taper tubes to pillow beads to saucer beads, to tube beads right here. These are more tube beads out of a Dr. Seuss book. This was food packaging. You know, so you'll get into making all kinds of beads. All kinds of beads. That's the fun thing about paper beads. And there's like I said, there's templates out there that can show you how to make other style beads. Like they're called bow ties, where they look like a bow tie when you hold the bead on its side. So I mean, there's all kinds out there, all kinds. You just have to just Google and go on Facebook and go on YouTube, and there are people who are willing to help you. If somebody puts a picture out there and they don't want to give you their information, they're not the only one who knows how to do it. You'll find someone. So all I can say to you guys is enjoy this craft if you want to get into this. I have been making paper beads since I was a kid. I remember making them as a child, and then I really got back into it, I want to say 10 years or so ago. So, and I've been non-stop making them ever since. The part I enjoy the most is the making the paper bead. That's the part I enjoy the most. I make jewelry, but you know, it's not my most favorite part of it. This is my most favorite part. I love to see this piece of paper turn into this bead. Oh, I thoroughly enjoy that. And then glazing them is, to me, that's not the fun part. But when they're all glazed and all done, some beads are downright gorgeous when they're done. So I hope this video helped you guys. I hope you got something out of it. And if you did and you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe. And art is created, so go out there and create some art. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.